Welcome back, focused learners. Okay, let's just dive right in. Today, we've got a fascinating explainer that is going to completely dismantle the social media illusion of wealth. We are breaking down source material that reveals what real financial success actually looks like once you finally have it. And, well, spoiler alert, it is probably the exact opposite of what your daily feed is trying to sell you. We're going to focus entirely on why real wealth looks completely invisible and how just understanding that one concept can completely change your financial trajectory. So picture this for a second. On one hand, we've got someone driving a used Toyota Camry with $2 million sitting quietly in index funds. I mean, to the outside world, they look exactly the same as someone with $200 to their name. But on the other hand, you have the person in the leased luxury apartment wearing head-to-toe designer clothes, driving a rented Bentley. The source points out this absolute crucial truth that actually takes most wealthy people years to figure out. The person in the modest, invisible setup might be completely financially free, while the one in the luxury apartment is almost certainly leveraged to the absolute hilt.
All right, let's get into Section 1, the social media wealth myth.
You know, we have all been heavily conditioned to associate wealth with highly visible, incredibly expensive things. But the core truth of this entire explainer is actually super simple. Real wealth is invisible. Think about the psychology here for a minute. The exotic cars, the massive estates, the crazy designer wardrobes, those are things people bought with money, which means they literally represent wealth that has already been spent. You are looking at the absence of wealth. The person living in a quiet neighborhood in an unassuming house is so often the one holding the real financial power, while those flashy internet personalities are just putting on a really expensive performance.
Moving right along to Section 2, the lifestyle inflation trap.
The absolute biggest hurdle in your financial journey is lifestyle inflation. It's spending more as you earn more, which means your actual net worth barely budges despite a rising income. The source actually calls this the silent killer of financial journeys. And psychologically, it happens because, well, we feel like we've earned a reward for our hard work, right? You get a raise from your side hustle or your freelance gig, and boom, immediately your expenses rise to match it. You might be bringing in way more cash, but you are not getting any wealthier. You're basically just running faster on the exact same treadmill.
So why is this trap literally so impossibly hard to avoid? Well, social media. Every single day, your feed aggravates lifestyle inflation by showing you the absolute most expensive version of success. It completely normalizes luxury. But what it's actively hiding from you is the boring, unglamorous reality of how actual wealth is built. It completely attacks our natural human desire for status, right? Making you feel like if you aren't constantly upgrading your lifestyle to match your peers, you're somehow falling behind. And honestly, that couldn't be further from the truth.
Which brings us to Section 3, Traits of True Wealth.
Trait number 1, they drive incredibly boring cars. The text references The Millionaire Next Door, which is widely noted as one of the most important personal finance books ever written. And guess what? The data found that the average American millionaire does not drive a Ferrari or a G-Wagon. They drive a used, highly practical vehicle. We're talking a Toyota, a Honda, a Ford. Why? Because a car is a depreciating asset. The money that would have gone into some massive ego-boosting luxury car payment went directly into investments instead. They traded that short-term status for long-term security.
Trait number 2, they live in unimpressive houses. Genuinely wealthy Americans often live in the exact same house for decades. See, real wealth accumulates in people who spend significantly less than they earn, completely regardless of their income bracket. The house itself isn't necessarily the wealth. The paid-off mortgage and the massive investment portfolio, which was funded by not upgrading to a mega mansion every 5 years, that is the true wealth. They completely avoid the psychological trap of tying their self-worth to their square footage.
Trait number 3, they are just obsessively boring with their money. I mean, look at this strategy. Index funds, automatic savings, no market timing, no wild crypto moonshots, and absolutely no get-rich-quick schemes. Their investment approach is honestly so boring it barely even qualifies as a strategy. It's just consistent, automatic, low-cost, long-term investing. The excitement doesn't happen today. The real excitement of wealth building happens decades later when that compound interest kicks in and creates this exponential growth that just becomes impossible to ignore. Okay, let's actually just pause and take a breath on this 4th trait. Real wealth is quiet. It doesn't need validation. This is such a profound psychological shift. The loudest people online are almost never the ones with the deepest pockets. The person posting their crazy watch collection or flexing on private jet flights, the source notes they are almost certainly either renting those items or they're desperately trying to build a personal brand around the appearance of wealth rather than the reality of it. Real wealth has absolutely nothing to prove to strangers on the internet. It exists completely independent of external approval.
Let's get into our final part, Section 4, Measuring Wealth and Freedom.
This brings us to the ultimate paradigm shift. If we actually want to build lasting wealth, we have to move completely away from material possessions as a metric for our success. Wealth isn't a bank account number. That is a false metric that just breeds endless comparison. The true finish line? It's waking up with genuine choice. The real definition of financial success isn't just having a huge number sitting in a bank somewhere. It is waking up on a Monday morning and having complete, genuine, autonomous choice over exactly how you spend your day. That freedom is what this entire process is actually about. Not the cars, not the houses, not the watches. It's the choice.
So what does this actually mean for you, right now, today? Well, whether you are building side hustles, creating passive income streams, or scaling up your freelance work, you are building towards something. But you've got to beware. If you scale your lifestyle every single time your income rises, you are going to stay exactly where you are financially, no matter how much you actually earn. Please, don't waste your hard-earned rising income by just buying more expensive versions of the things you already have. Because if you do, you are essentially just buying yourself golden handcuffs.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to really chew on. Are you building real wealth, or are you just upgrading your lifestyle? Take a hard look at your daily habits. Think about exactly where your extra income is going this month. Remember, the boring path is the real path, and it looks absolutely nothing like what is currently dominating your social media feed. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay hyper-focused on building that invisible wealth, and I will catch you on the next one.